very much. It's a crew. All the hotels are booked up. So
welcome to Think Like a Key Music's 2024 Year in Review, Part 1. We got a lot of music we put out this year. I was trying to think back when the last time I actually was here on YouTube with you guys. I think it was in October 2023. So it's been a long time, not for not wanting to do this. Every month I have it on my to-do list. Let's do some YouTube. Here we are in December. It's been a busy year to say the least, so that's why we're going to recap this in a few different parts, and we're going to start chronologically in January. We did something cool to start off this year. We did a series of 7-inch singles, not all at the same time. We spread them out, but we started in January, right? Just like most of us did this year. Postcard by the Blossom Toes. This is the one that kicked off our 7-inch reissue series, something that hasn't been reissued before, along with all the other ones that we picked. And it's a 1968 non-album single, quintessential pop psych. So it was very cool to kind of get this out there again with a unique sleeve from Piper Gates Design, who was involved in all the reissue series we did. And this was the first one we put out in January, and let's check it out.
when I go away, I like to send a postcard home, just to let my folks know that I'm alright. They don't have to worry when I go off on my own. When the knocks are Monday, I can call them on the phone, make post it.
After that, we put out also another pretty obscure single, again, Dear Computer by Anji Cakebread. This came out in 1978, originally on the Magnet label. If I'm not mistaken, it feels like she was just kind of a buddy, a friend of a producer and songwriter, Tony Rockcliffe, and they just ended up in the studio doing this song. I'm not sure if she really had a whole music career planned, but at any rate, this is all that she ever released. The original review, which we put in the back from Record Mirror, says it's Kraftwerk meets Lindsay DeCall. So that gives you kind of an idea, but it has a very modern thing, and of course it's Dear Computer. It's kind of like it can work in today's life, and it was very cool working with Tony on this. First thing we kind of put together. An honorable mention for January is, of course, this record, The Leopard and the Lamb by Peter Daltrey. I say it's honorable because it technically came out in December of 2023, but most stockists had it for January. I know in the UK it was January, so it really does fall under January. But with that said, it did get named one of the best albums of 2023 by Rock Portal in the Netherlands, so very cool. And of course the vinyl comes with signed print here, and yes, if you note, the copies will appear like this. We had a little timing issue, and the inserts were put in once it was shrink wrapped, so we snuck them in, but we left a little bit closed. So if you have that, this is what we would consider a sealed copy. If you have it fully opened, I'm sorry, you got a used copy. I hope you do have it. There's very few left.
This is the song you never heard. Here is your melody at last. Now we must take our separate paths.
At number 4 is the Mirage, another 7-inch single reissue. Very expensive to get our hands on the original. We reissued this pretty collectible and not to mention fabulous song with a B-side of Lazy Man, another Piper Gates Design sleeve. Like I said, he designed all of these, trying to stay true to the aesthetic of what I think makes the 45s and the 7-inch picture sleeves so fascinating. It's interesting. I love it. Of course, this looks very nice. I mean, arguably, they usually would not look as nice, right? So that's one little modern twist. 2024 also brought us 3 albums, very different albums, all very interesting and worth checking out if you don't have them already. Starting with this one from the Bedsit Poets. After 10 years of not working together, Amanda Thorpe and Edward Rogers joined forces again from New York and London to do this transatlantic, I guess, singer-songwriter album, but honestly, it's a lot more than that. It's an album that came to me, and at first, honestly, I wasn't so sure about it. I had no idea, though, the band was an old band. I just thought it was one of Edward's new projects. I liked it, and it took me a while to really appreciate it. Long story short, it was released February, I think, like a Key Music, and features kind of our standard jacket, which, I don't know, do you guys like it or not? Of course, the CD kind of tucks in there. Let's not joke around. It's a nice little economic package that still looks good and won't break any of our banks. But I know we get some complaints sometimes, like, oh, you know, the CD is going to get scratched in there or something. But quite honestly, I just picked up this from DMG, the Kinks reissues, and I mean, this one's just stuck in there too, right? Like, that one's in there, and this cardboard is really, really rough. So this one I'm more worried about than our releases. But anyway, point is noted. We love hearing feedback on this stuff, so that's why I am asking you what you guys think. But anyway, let's check out some music before we keep talking about packaging.
Suddenly fell so out of grace, the golden age gone when they close the front door. Close the front door.
Speaking of packaging, this one is an expanded 6-panel, right? Because we had to put the story about it. This is Fran Ashcroft, The Songs I Never Wear. And the story here is Fran, this is his second album with us, and I think his second album, period. He got kind of inspired after we released his album, the tour of British Duck Ponds last year. Then he presented me with this idea, which was basically him, the power of AI, going back to work on his old recordings from the 1970s. It's quite fascinating, right? Like what you can do. AI, our best, worst friend right now. You can make good use of it, and Fran definitely did with this album, where he basically finishes or revisits some of his old material, not to make it sound like 2024. In fact, if anything, this is really still a very 70s sounding record, but kind of a home record. Like, just, you can kind of picture you're in 7 Park Avenue with Badfinger's home, right? And just listening to them work on their work tapes and stuff. It has that vibe to a very cool record.
Like magicians screaming, murder thrown into the searchlight, loading crossfire resurrection, 2-direction full flight. Bad night, who's broken the spell? Cab driver up on a hill, stage fright with nothing to tell.
We have one more album from February which snuck out there to an unsuspecting public. Fernando, Perdomo, and Matt Teku's art, featuring Matt Teku's artwork. And this came out on a very limited vinyl. We have probably a few copies left, quite honestly, before you have to really start paying Discog prices. And then we have the expanded, or full-length rather, CD edition. We do recommend, if you like progressive rock. It's all instrumental. Fernando and Matt were both in Echoes in the Canyon, the Netflix documentary talking about all the Laurel Canyon folks in good light, not bad light. And of course, they were the band that backed up Jacob Dylan on that. So anyway, that's how they started working together. And they put this together spontaneously. They start sending emails like, oh, listen to this, listen to this, listen to this. And next thing you know, we have this album, which I'm holding here, and was out earlier this year. And I say it was a bit of a unsuspecting public because, I mean, we're still getting reviews about it. People are still discovering it. So just like all our catalog, in fact, I think we got some reviews from some of our 2022 releases recently too. So that's the beauty of this music that we put out in Think Like a Key. we jump to March, though, we did have another 7-inch single that came out. The Crazy World of Arthur Brown, Devil's Script. That was his first single. And people ask, well, why didn't you release Fire? You know, that was a #1 in many countries. Devil's Script didn't chart. What the hell are you doing? How do you stay in business? Well, the answer is simple. Professor Stone recommended us doing this, and he had a very good sounding copy of it, and that kind of inspired me to go with it. Everything that you hear online, on the CDs, on the reissues, it sounds like they took the vinyl, they put it on their freaking MP3 Walkman or something, and that's what you're hearing. This sounds great. The beauty of these is, again, some of these are collectibles, and you know, you can just buy 1 or 2 of these, so you can spin them if you do DJ sets, and throw them out once they get a little too used up, and buy another one. They don't cost that much. The only problem is they are limited. So if you want it for that, you might want to pick up 2 copies now than later. March 2024 saw another album come out, Rowan 56, Paradise is Free. Rowan 56, of course, is Arthur and Monica's band of the Shirts. It was recorded in New York City and Amsterdam. I mean, they have a big following in Amsterdam to this day, thanks to the Shirts and the legacy they have there. It has a lyric booklet. We do have it's on Digipack, this one, for those packaging nerds. And of course, I love the homage to the Harvest label, which was where Artie was recording with back in the late 70s, right? Little fun stuff there. It's a 12-track album. They gave me a few more, and I whittled it down to 12 because you can only have so many good songs in one album. But this is really 12 great songs, and you're going to be probably putting on repeat more than you realize. Just keeps going on repeat over here, and think like a key headquarters.
Johnny's play guitar everywhere. Oh, I've never been to Seattle. No, I've never been to Seattle.
Right, and before we move on to our spring, which will be another episode, we're going to wrap up our winter with 2 more 7-inch singles from our series. And this one is very cool. Annie Bown, Tarot. First time reissued, first time in a picture sleeve, again by Piper Gates Design. And an extra shout out to him because he's the one that came up with this idea. Like he said, hey, check out this. This would make a great reissue. Thanks to our friends over there at The Strange Roof. Hey, Jason. We managed to get a hold of Andy and convince him that this was worthwhile, and it really did prove to be worthwhile. This was our biggest seller. There's still copies, yes, but once they're out, they're out. And I think it just got picked like a Shindig Top 2024 or something. That's a cool accolade.
Iron roads, asphalt sky, windows made from water, sign of secrets, mysteries, child, ruler of 8 quarters.
Yeah, moving on, we have another 7-inch single. This one's quite obscure. Garbo's Celluloid Heroes, Only Death is Fatal. I discovered this one myself just on YouTube. Chris Evans, YouTube, he was the singer of World of Oz, rest in peace. But he has his YouTube page that's had, and a lot of these rarities are on there. I had no idea he did stuff after World of Oz, wasn't familiar, and there's lots of interesting recordings, actually. That would be a great project to work on. World of Oz is probably one of my favorite groups. Not many people can say that, at least from 1968, 69. Big fan. And his voice is very unique, and it's very apparent it's him, although now it's punk rock because it's 1978. But it's a twisted form of punk rock. It's punk rock if World of Oz did it. In fact, hopefully all these records will appeal to the same audience At least that is what we hope. Let's play a little bit of it, and then we'll wrap up. Well, that wraps up our 2024 winter releases from Think Like a Key. Tune in for the next episode. It'll be spring and probably summer since summer was kind of slow. And then we'll go through those records. But yes, if you did find yourself enjoying any of these records you picked up this year from us, we appreciate it, first off. The artists appreciate it. Humanity appreciates it, quite frankly, at this stage. But yeah, leave reviews on Amazon. I know our own shop doesn't really have reviews, but it's more important to do it on Amazon. That's where everyone's at. Or rate your music, or make sure you scan your collection into Discogs. All you have to do is on your smartphone, scan the little UPC. It'll take you right to the album page. Say, hey, I own this, and you can also rate it there. That helps tremendously. That's my pitch to you guys. If you enjoy this content, if you enjoy these releases, help spread the word. I hope you got turned on to something new here, and just keep discovering. As you can see, it's quite an eclectic mix. If you're not familiar with Think Like a Key, it's probably the fourth year now, really making some of this stuff happen, and hopefully we'll have a few more years ahead. But your support's really important. It's hitting the subscribe button, staying tuned with future videos. That's going to be big, especially as we do intend to move into creating more of this video content and more, hopefully a live stream series soon with interviews with some of these artists and, talk stuff outside of music. Not everything was music, contrary to what most of us believe. But anyway, that's enough. So we gotta work on the next episode. A lot more releases coming up. And until then, keep thinking like a key.